Hello and welcome. I'm Shadow of Shadow Gaming, bringing you Programming of Shadow episode 32. In today's video, we will be doing the display for the air simulation, and we may even be finishing it. So we may be doing the finishing of the initial. So as a reminder, the plan, once I get this finished, we'll have a simulation, and it may not be the best. It's not a well-founded implementation. So what I'm doing from this is I built this back from memory from what I'd done many years ago. So the simulation's very rough around the edges. In fact, I think I've found 2 bugs already, so we may end up having to deal with them. But what it's going to open us up to is the next topic, which is going to be unit testing in C#. We're not going to go heavily in the testing or anything, but we're going to at least hit the basics, talk about unit testing in particular. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a more unit testable simulation. That'll be your eventual plan. For today, though, we're just going to work, like I said, we may just be finishing up these last 2 to-dos. So, let's go ahead and begin. First, we need a display, and we could do it as a method, as a local method. I'm going to do it as a separate one because it's going to be big enough. I think it serves it. We'll just do it here. Do private void display simulation. So very first thing here is I'm doing a display because I'm going to control the colors, but probably the better option would be the return string of the simulation and replay it and have a replayer or something. But we're going to do it like this. Go ahead and add that in. Here at the do, if I can find the to do again. Have display simulation. We'll also have a method here to do the final display. Maybe it'll be a smaller, so let's do it here. We'll say private void display final results. I think we have a total time, right? So yeah, I think we can go ahead and just do this. So let's do it. So there we go. All right, wait a minute. Get rid of one of these. And I don't think I actually got rid of one. I've got rid of one of my braces. Here, let's step back just a minute. Private void display final results. I don't see what's wrong there. Oh, it's the private. There we go. Oh. There we go. Okay, I don't know what I was doing wrong. I think it was the private. We'll leave it there. We'll say display final results. So we'll go ahead and do it because it's shorter. So Since we have a total time, we'll do our average time equals. I did this as a separate method, but I don't think I really need it. Do it as a private method here. We'll do earn, and then time span. Time span's a C# class. So we'll do something like this. So seconds equals. And so we're going to convert it to an integer. Time dot total seconds divided by actual number of registrants. So that's the average of how long it takes for each registrant. We'll just return it as a time span. So there's two ways to do this. I'm about to create a variable. What I could do instead is just do this actually. Return new as with the time span because of the type. We can say 0, 0, and then seconds. Return a time span of that. That will be perfectly fine. Passed in total time. Should be an underscore. There we go. So there we go. That's our method. So the other way you could do this, I was about to do it by just putting this into a variable and passing it in. This will actually work, and I think this will be just they're readable enough. In the background, if you'd done it, the compiler would handle that for you and do it. I think this is actually all right for readability for what we're going to use it for. Again, this is pretty short. I could have just done, instead of this, I could have just done this line here and pasted it in there and done it in one line. I don't like that personally, but I'm fine with this structure. Let's do console dot foreground color equals menu dot primary color. Console dot right line. Put it on a new line. $sign, make it an interpolated string. So we'll say count of arrivals, registrants was average time. So I was thinking right there, if there's only one arrival, you could do the S, but for the most part, that's not going to be the situation, so I'm not going to worry about it. Console dot right line, interpolated string. The minimum service time was shortest, and the maximum service time was longest. So there's just a few statistics for the end. That's enough. We might do more, but we'll stop with that for the moment. So right now, notice that there's no return type here. It doesn't take anything, so it's always just printing. We're gonna see when we do testing later that passing or using these like this is a lot harder to do than if they were passed in as a parameter. But we're not going to worry about that. We'll worry about that later. Let's instead go to this method. So this one, this will be displaying the actual, as it runs through the simulation, you'll be displaying the steps as it goes through. We may have to play around a little bit to get the values correct, because I noticed from right here at the front, I'm not sure it's going to be the best. Thing check. So we'll go ahead and do a return, and let's put a private method here, so a local method. So this is just a helper for strings, and we'll see how we use it in a minute. And I'm going to make this one static because it doesn't need anything. Create dashed line, int number of dashes. So as you can probably guess from the name, what we're going to use this for is we're just going to, as we're writing out stuff, we're going to use dashes to help us display things properly. So we're going to do it like this. So I'm going to say string line equals new line. We should do string builder. String builder line equals new. We talked about string builder. It's basically a C# way to more efficiently make strings if you're doing a lot of additions, a lot of concatenations. So may not necessarily, but we'll go ahead and do it like this anyway. There's probably something better we can do. What I'm going to do is just going to build it. I bet we could do something better than that there. I don't know it right offhand. I don't think there's a... I don't think there's a good one here. I was thinking there might actually be a built-in way to do that, but I actually don't. So yeah, we'll just stick with this way for now, but just know there may be more efficient. I may try to find a more efficient one in the future. But for now, we're just going to do this, and we'll say line plus equals a dash. And that's not it. Line.append. And this is saying we should do it as a character. And that's perfectly fine here. A little more efficient. It doesn't have to know it's a string. So there's a little efficiency gain there. And it can tell it that just seeing it. So we'll go with that. There we go. We have us a little helper method. One other one we're going to do a couple times is we're going to have like a label and then a colon or something and then a number. You may want to with a local function or local method as well. Let's do a static void display summary. It takes in a string. We'll say message and a int value. There we go. So we'll say console.foreground color equals menu.primary color and console. No. right equals display. The display in this case will be message. Message will in this case be something like words, colon, then a space, and then you'll put the value after it. So maybe not the best way we could probably do. Maybe the better thing would be the like do let's do it like this. This may not be any better though. This will save us having to write the colon space though. Maybe that's better. I'm not sure if that's better, but we'll go with that because I think it'll be all right. Let's go alternate color and then numeric. There we get the value. I called it numeric value earlier, so we'll try the top there. Okay, so that'll be a little helper. So let's start writing this method. So I'm going to start it as a string because that's what I did, but we probably refactor it to a string builder. Probably should. We'll go ahead. Let me see where I use. I call it display value. Yeah, we just tried it. Yeah, we'll do string builder display value. Probably refactor that. The end will do. We'll leave it like that for now. So let's begin. We'll clear the console. So what we're doing there, we're just wiping whatever we have there, and that'll help us redraw whatever we're right. Console.foreground color equals alternate. I wonder if that's correct. I may be flipping these. We'll keep going. Console.right. All right, so we'll see what this actually should be. That's what I've done before. Is something like this. We can probably clean that up. This looks very dumb structure-wise. So that's controlling a lot of things, and I have a feeling it's very dumb, but we'll see how it looks first and then factor it after. And J equals, I use J. It's a misstep. Yeah, we'll use I because that's definitely. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think this is getting slower. So that's one other thing. I was thinking it might be closing in on time to start using an IDE, and the reason for that is it'll be faster because I'm not a virtual machine, but we'll consider that as well. $. So append a new line with window number. What that stands for. Console.writeLine display value dot string. Yeah, this is probably not the way I want to do that part of this. But yeah, this will be definitely a refactor in the future. Color. Called it longest. There we go. Yeah, I corrected the name. I do think I remember doing that. For int I equals 0, I less than largest, that should be longest, I plus plus. So clear. Now for int j equals 0, j less than number of windows, j plus plus. Then if j is less than the registrant numbers at j dot count. Use the correct j. Then here we'll do display value dot end. We'll do /t registrant numbers, if I'm doing it right. What did I call the variable? I call it. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. That's a mistype, so let's rename that. Registrant numbers. So that's the count of registrant, not the registrant. There we go. What I did there is in VS Code, if you press select what you're wanting and press F2, that's how you do it. Rename. Here, say F2 and make it longest line. All right, let's go back here though. So we have this. Do a dot pad left, 4 spaces, and with a 0. So what that's saying is take these numbers and put them here and do 4 zeros. What we're assuming is there's going to be fewer than 10,000 people at an event. So maybe I want to do it bigger, but I think 4 will be plenty for the sizes we're dealing with. Otherwise, we're just going to add a tab. I've noticed instead of a string there, I put it in a character, and it fits even though there's 2 characters there. That's because it's the special characters. I also noticed we do it twice here, so do this. Pull it up here, pull that down, get rid of the L. Now, after we're finished, both loops, this is where we'll do both loops. Hope I was right the first time. Here. Now we'll do console.write line, do display value string. Now let's come up here and let's rename display value now that we've seen how it's used. So now we can just say something a little more probably. All right, so lastly, we're going to do some turn specifics. So write line to give us a new line, and then foreground color equals menu dot write line. So far /t and we'll say dash line 8 times, let's do the number of windows. So that should give us like some dashes like underneath the windows. We'll see if it does it, but I think this will be right. So we'll try that. I do notice that this is what I do know is this isn't matching what I was doing over here, so this may not end up working. I'm gonna have to go back to what I've prototyped. Foreground equals menu dot primary color. So console dot write say longest queue. We added a helper for this. Display summary. Yeah. We'll say longest queue encountered so far. Don't do that. And it is the largest queue. Longest. There we go. There we go. And let's add another blank line. Then we'll do display summary events processed so far, events processed, then display summary arrivals, count of arrivals, count of departures. Probably going to want to do this. Line up the endpoint. That's not going to do it. We'll see how that looks. I may want to line these up instead of tab doing something else. We'll add finally a console dot line, and I think we're pretty good, I think. So let's see how this looks. So it may look horrible, we'll see. So let's begin. Go. All right, so 1,008 hours, 7 windows, and 5-minute checkout time. We'll just run the simulation with the defaults and let's see what happens. Error. Service time invalid. So let's go check that out. So that happens. Where did we see faults? So in run simulation line 70, if strength is null or white space. Try that again. Notice a bug. The exception happened and now the colors are messed up. It didn't reset. We should fix that. So let's see. Let's try just running it again. There we go. There, it's a little flashy. Let's stop it. Control C there forces it to stop. Now seconds to display. What did we do for this? 100. Bump it up to 300. 400. I was going to do 300, but tapped wrong. That one will be harder to fix. There is a way to fix that, but that one will be harder. We'll do the exception, but we're not going to fix that one. There we go. So it's running. You see someone come in and then go out. And what's that doing? Is it simulating people coming and going? Our distribution works. It should start ramping up here in a moment. May not. And this may be too slow to wait for, so let's reduce. Let's set that. Let's set that to 50 and get ready for some flashing. Maybe. If we ever get more than one, because if that's all we're doing, we're only getting one, that's a problem. Yeah, we seem to be only getting one, so we may have another bug. May have to go figure that one out. Yeah, it's looking very much like it's just doing one. Number of hours was 8. I'm running my samples, let's see what it does. 7 windows, expected duration's 5 minutes. Yeah, something's wrong. We've got a bug. We'll Control C. Need to figure out that bug first. So I presume it's in the display. So let's start there. Wonder what the number of windows are here. Do that. We'll add that first. Console.write line. Number of windows. It looks like you got those right. You can see here this matched because they were counted. That's what this is doing. We're putting this in the same row. That's why there's 3 tabs over here. That's what I think we could do that better with some math. But we like this looks all right for now. However, this does not. So let's see. Here's where you actually do the simulation. So compare. So I have a display on if Oh, yeah, dumb bug. So I'm doing this here. I'm just going through the number of windows. Should be I for the lines. So I think this will fix it. Let's see if it doesn't. If so, it's very dumb typo. We need to repeat that. Glad I added the defaults. Alright, yeah, so it is not generating how I want it. This might get to be a little funner debugging session. That may end up being the next video's a debug session. Oh, there is a 2. So, still not working. Make the time 100 like we started with. It'd be a lot easier if we had be a lot easier if we had unit tests. We'd be able to test the little parts here and see which one broke. Because we haven't done that yet, we're going to have to go through and actually. I presume it's just something. I wonder if one of these values. I don't think it is, but maybe we should print those out real quick. Too. Yeah, I don't know which one. I actually don't have a good feeling right now which one I should start with the debug for. Um, these are in range, so let's see. Let's do this. Let's find find this line here. Let's do it. Copy this. We'll say hours of operation. What would the other field? Expected number of registrants. There we go. Registration. What was the other number? There's one more. We start with number of windows. Let's make sure these are right first. With an 8 and 1,000, it seems right. Let's start with checking this duration. That's what it looks to me. Just by observation, looks to me that we're not actually using the duration. I see 7 reference. Here. So in schedule first. check what I did there. Window index isn't used. That's right. So let's see. So we get service duration. That's where it actually shows up at. So there we go. Minimum service time in seconds plus however long it took. I believe that's a typo right offhand. Compare with what I did in my full service duration. Yes, there we go. Let's see if that does it. So that was a very easy debugging session. You can't expect all the debugging sessions to be okay. That's easy. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like the rivals were appearing and disappearing just as quick as they arrived. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good easy fix. I'm glad it wasn't too bad because very bad. It'd be fun to learn actually do a debugging, but it'd be a lot funner with the actual. As you can see, they're just sort of filtering in. We should start seeing these get a little fuller, I think. There's a 3. I do notice a problem. At least these look alright. I'd like we should try to turn down the flashing too, so I think we can do that by going here. Go. Fill in the or open it terminal. I think this one will do. CD pan. Uh-oh. Crashed. It won't do better if it crashes. So yeah, there we can see a couple of them build up to 3. You might see a 4. About halfway done. They're getting full. Yeah, it looks like 7's enough. So it looks like our default's enough to handle the situation. Here, let's go ahead and control this. Here. Let's see what this actually looks like. That is not readable. Yeah, not readable. We need to make the background bright or a little darker. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's remove our debug statements. Over here, remove the debug. It looks nice here, but it doesn't look nice here, but it plays a lot nicer. So let's remove the debug statements. Here. Control X is what I'm doing for that. So remove those. Let's go to menu. Yes. Make the background color dark gray. Let's see if that looks any better. .NET. We haven't ran build before, but we're going to run a .NET build now. Build succeeded. So now if we come over here, we've got the new one. A little more flashy, but I think that looks a little better. All right, so something we can do. We're displaying the windows with numbers. Not do that. Let's do more user friendly. Let's come down here, display, and here, down to the display, and here where we do number of windows, let's say I plus 1. That way it starts at 1 instead of 0. We'll do another build. Let's also, no, I just built that. Let's also change this. Let's do it really flashy. We'll say 10. This will be a fast simulation, and we're going to use that to see the final results. So now it should have regular numbers, should be a lot faster, and we should have actual results. Here we go. There we go. Takes off fast. We're already a tenth of the way there. Yeah, so now it's counting in numbers though, so W and 1. I think that looks a little better to me. Yeah, we're halfway there. Hasn't built up all that much. I would have expected it to build up a little more, probably. The average service time. Yeah, there's still a bug. Let's figure that one out. What was the minimum service time? That might be it. It did not clear. I'm surprised. Does it clear here? Thought it would clear the terminal like it does here. That might even look better here. Screen's no longer displayed properly. Don't know about that again. Alright, so what I expect is that expect if we go back to get service duration, I believe it's going to be fine now. Okay, so we say a minute. That might be the problem. What's my minimum? 90. Yeah, there we go. So just press. Resting. Yeah, so if I come back up here, let's say 90. Notice this doesn't change. It's still running. We'll go ahead and clear that. Let's run it again. So now we should start seeing some backups. So now it's saying it's another minute and a half minimum longer. Now we should see it back up a little faster. Yeah, there we go. That was the difference. It wasn't necessarily a bug, just put in a different requirement. Now it's not going to fit the numbers. Yeah, see how big the lines have gotten now. We're only part of the way there. So that wouldn't work for the duration. So that if it took 90 minutes, we could see from our simulation already that it's not going to go right. So that's roughly what I wanted to cover. As I said, it'd be hard to catch that one. What we can do here, though, is do original equals console color dot console dot foreground color equal foreground color original FG console color original BG. we'll do that, and then we'll wrap all of this. We'll do it here. Finally. Now, if we try it again, I bet that one will actually work if we try it again as well. Now, if we hit an exception, which we're not hit again, now it should work. That works. Let's throw an exception. We'll just say throw new exception. Hi. Now we should see that when it runs, the exception should go back to the. Hard to tell if it actually did or not, where it didn't actually. Let's do it. Let's move it after here. Try that. So now it should switch to the colors and then go back. Hold exception. Oh, we need to do. One more time. As I said, it's a lot harder to catch that. Goes a little fast. Let's do this. We'll do a console dot. Maybe this say goodbye actually. Maybe we just do up here and do probably better to do that anyway, because then we're not going to be using we're not recoloring it ourselves. And here, if we didn't want it to give a stack trace, okay, it does wipe it. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I just don't want to do this. So this will fail, give us the error. I think I probably actually like that better, but I probably would catch and handle the error. So instead we could do, we'll add a try, we'll add a catch, and it's just going to be a general catch. So we'll say a dot C. Here we can remove this because finally always takes place, so it'll always tell us finally. Maybe instead of that, maybe let's do it like this. Do instead of say goodbye doing all this, instead we'll do these there. Do it like that. And we can add the console dot clear back here. And now up here in there, finally, we'll just save this key and then reset. And then now let's see what happens. Third, good. The 5 is there because that's what I'm typing. And let's do one more thing. Let's put a /t there. I think this will have us a simulation. Yep. The error has occurred. So that's the error. Let's test that if that actually works in actual console. Do a new one. Path. CD this path. Slash. And perfect. Okay, so that one just got messed up because of the kick. Yeah. Okay, so what happened was I pressed Control C and wiped it and then didn't come back. So that'll still happen, by the way, if I run this. Press Control C now. Now we're stuck on these colors. See, they become the default. So we do have that issue, and like I said, it's a little harder to do that. What you would do there is you would basically you would overwrite Control C handling here and handle it yourself. And that's possible, but I don't know if it's what we want to do here. We may see, so let's put a to do here, but we may or may not do it. To do to consider trapping the CTL. There's just a possible to do, but I'll get to it. I'll go ahead and say that. All right, so there we go, though. So we have a simulation now, so that's pretty much the entire simulation. And like I said, it's rough. Everything's done here. There's a lot of code here. A lot of it is in private methods, but I think we can do better. And I think testing it's going to be the way to show us what better actually. So we'll plan on that for next time. So like this here, this looks very much like a utility. So maybe we need a console utility or something like that. Something that we have elsewhere and we just use here. But we'll play around with the thought of testing. So that is testing is being able to verify that different methods do what you expect different units of code, whatever your unit is. I'm probably going to go from methods perspective because that's what I'm used to, but unit maybe classes, maybe something else. But we'll think about that and talk about that next time. That'll be the next lesson. Like I said, we're also getting close to the point where I may end up moving from VS Code to actual Visual Studio. So that's also something on the radar, but may not happen yet. We'll see. But that's going to do it for today. So today as a summary, we added some display methods. We tracked down 2 different bugs, maybe even 3 if you count one that wasn't really a bug. We tracked down some bugs. We tested our thing. We got it looking decent. Still some places we could polish, but we have a simulation. That's pretty much it. So we'll call it there. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.